Practice number 13, Adam, and it was tight ends day for us here for the media. We got Coach Brett Bartoloni as well as Zach Atkins and Sevilles Smalls, and a room that we haven't seen a lot of the last couple of years, but everything we hear, we're going to see a lot more of those guys this year.
Well, Sevilles Smalls was at least good for like one catch a game, it seemed like last year.
Yeah.
He'd get his catch, and you're like, okay, he's probably not going to get another one. But this year you might see a little bit more production out of him. Obviously, the last year was such a learning experience for him as a converted defensive player that it was hard to expect him to really look polished. And there were times that his game looked a little raw, but there were those snippets of time where you saw a lot of potential with him, and that's led him to be the number one tight end in this program right now. But Zach Atkins, who was sick this spring after transferring up a level from the Division II ranks, has really started to find a groove. And I think he brings, as Bartoloni said, a little bit more of a vertical threat in the passing game. Not scared to get his hands dirty in the run game, but even he admits, and I know you talked to him at Media Day as well, that he's further along as a pass catcher because he was a 190-pound receiver coming out of high school. So he's grown into his body and seems to have a bright future. Bartoloni said they need 3 guys, though. I don't know who that third one's going to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it's going to be either. But speaking of Sevilles, real quick, he's a guy that obviously converted from defensive end, and the other day, Coach Prime had the coach say, "Hey, send up your top guy here," and Sevilles is one that went up there. And I thought that says a lot about where he's progressed as a tight end. And obviously, last year he was kind of that guy out of need. But I feel like this year, as you're alluding to, he's that guy because he's earned it, and he's actually a tight end now.
Yeah, I think there is going to be a little bit more 11 personnel, more 12 personnel than last year, but I still primarily think this is going to be 10 personnel offense. So is he going to be on the field for every snap? No, but he's going to have an impact on this team, and I think is going to be a big part of them. That where they really need him is on third and short and third and medium to be a guy that can create mismatches. That's something that is so important about the tight end position. And so I think that's what you're going to see a little bit more from him this year. But no, Sevilles Smalls will not lead the team in receiving or anything crazy like that.
Right. Yeah, and neither will Zach Atkins, but I expect him to be Atkins might lead the tight ends in receiving. He is that guy that he is more of that threat. And like you mentioned, Bartoloni said he's more of that vertical threat. He looks the part. I mean, he looks like the first true tight ends CU's had in the last 3 years, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. And there are, I'm not trying to diminish the walk-ons because I think Brady Kopetz could be a serviceable guy in this program, Charlie Williams as well. I think those guys are probably ahead of the true freshmen at this point, wouldn't you think? Zane D'Souza and as well as Corbin Lazier.
I was going to say, I think that if there's a number 3 right now, I would say it's Brady Kopetz.
Probably. But Charlie Williams, I think he looks the part as well. So it's going to be interesting to see which of those guys gets in there. But Bartoloni said special teams is big for his group too, and that is going to be a big determiner in terms of who that third and fourth guy in his room are that get to go travel with the team this year.
Yeah, and it was interesting. He said, "I've got to have 3 guys ready." There is 6. Those true freshmen. You follow them a lot on the recruiting trail. What do you think of Corbin Lazier and Zane D'Souza as they're coming into this freshman year? I know that Zane got here late. He was one of the later guys to get here. He didn't graduate until May, so he's maybe a little bit behind in that regard. But what do you think of those guys and how they can contribute this year, if at all?
I would guess that Lazier is a little bit further ahead in terms of his development at this point. He played in a pass-heavy offense early in high school, then transferred to a high school his senior year that ran the ball a ton, and so he kind of got to see both sides of it. With Zane up there in Loveland, didn't see the greatest competition in high school. He's got a frame that looks like he's going to be an offensive tackle someday. Just more trips through that line with Carl Solomon, and I don't think it would take all that long for him to be that. I know he wants to be a tight end, so we'll see what the future looks like for him. He's going to be a little bit more of a developmental guy, but again, you see him in street clothes, and you go, that's a football player right there.
Yeah. One last thing, Brett Bartoloni, talk about developmental guys. I mean, this is a guy that I asked him about his progression under Coach Prime. He was a quarterback's coach. He was the offensive coordinator at Jackson for a little bit, calling plays. Here he's coached receivers, inside receivers, tight ends. He's learned a lot about coaching, and he's developed a lot as a coach.
He's done that with some different coaches. He hasn't been afraid to give George Hilo the edge coaching job, even though he's primarily been more of a linebackers coach in the past, right? And so Michael Pollock has worn a ton of hats under him. So maybe it is a good thing for their development. Brett Bartoloni is always come across as a very bright guy and seems to have a bright future in football. It's maybe not as prominent a role here at Colorado as a tight ends coach, but he did add the passing game coordinator title, so he's got that. And yeah, I mean, I even going back to when he was at Washington State learning under Mike Leach, he's got a pretty amazing story as a coach.
Yeah, and I think any coach that's going to quote Mike Leach when he's out there with his players is a good addition to the staff. So one last thing before we get out of here, tomorrow is the kickoff luncheon. I know a lot of fans are going to go to that. You're going to be at that, correct?
Yes.
And it's always a fun event. I mean, it's a pep rally for the boosters, right? But it's a fun event to see the entire team and hear Coach Prime and the coaches and some of the players get up there and talk about the upcoming season. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's like Big 12 Media Day for us is kind of like, okay, time to get back to work.
Yeah.
The kickoff luncheon is like, the season's almost here. Yeah. It's kind of one of those.
That's kind of for the fans at the time, like, oh, we're here. Let's
go. Exactly. So that'll be fun, and always some pretty good food there as well. So I'm looking forward to see if we have. I think we'll do an analysis video, so we'll share whatever we witnessed there. But there won't be interviews from the media there. So just give me an opportunity for us to meet some fans and hear what they have to say up there.
And see Miss Peggy, of course. So we'll be out there tomorrow, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.